Hey, I'm Daniel Decay from Banger TV. You may know me from such programs as Shredders of Metal, and that's all. You wanted to know more about our Shredders contestants, so I got together with Frankie C., our Shredders of Metal champion, outside the Banger HQ office. Let's talk shred. Frankie, it's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you, man.
It's been a while since we hung out doing
No
Shredders
doubt.
of Metal together. How's everything been going, buddy?
It's been great, man. Yeah, it's working on some tunes, and yeah, the show was great and getting lots of good feedback and some new followers. So definitely excited for the future. Yeah.
Let's get to it. There's only one place to start right at the beginning. How did you initially get into playing guitar?
Well, initially, a friend of mine growing up was a drummer, and his dad was also a musician. His dad is a phenomenal drummer, and he was a really good drummer as well. And at the time, I used to hang out with him a lot. He had a guitar sitting around, and I remember one time, like, he pulled his guitar, like, from under his bed, and he's like, "Hey, man, like, check this out." And pretty much instantly from there, I was just like, I want to play guitar. Like, I want to, like, start a band with this guy. And from there, I got into bands like Metallica, Sepultura, Slayer, Ozzy, Iron Maiden. Like, there was tons of bands that I had got into, so that's pretty much where it had started. And
Who were some of the players specifically that you looked up to in the world of six string?
definitely early on it was like Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield. You know, James's rhythm chops were awesome. All his riffs, all his writing were great at the time. Like, yeah, no doubt, man. And with, you know, Kirk's all his souls and stuff. But then, you know, I started getting into guys like Adrian Smith and Dave Murray from Iron Maiden. I remember when the Rock in Rio DVD came out, I used to watch that thing like religiously and like try to learn like all the tunes and try to get it like as, you know, as close as I could get it at the time. But, you know, later on I started to get into more, I guess, kind of like shred guitar players like Alex. You know, I started listening to Testament like really early on. Guys like Jason Becker, Marty Freeman, Paul Gilbert. You know, so I was fortunate to get into guys like that at a pretty like young age. So I started working on that kind of stuff on guitar probably around like grade 9, grade 10, 14, 15 years old.
It sounds like it's always kind of been heavy metal for you. It doesn't sound like there was much of a transition into metal. It sounds like you were listening to the good stuff right from the start.
Pretty early on, yeah. There's a lot of other styles that I'm into as well. A lot of other styles that I've studied like on my instrument, like blues, jazz, funk. Like, there's all kinds of music that I love. Metal is definitely my favorite, of course, but there's a lot of other styles of music that I'm influenced by as well. So
Let's get to Shredders and talk about that whole experience. Right from the beginning, how did you hear about it and what made you want to apply?
Well, actually, I saw the casting call that had been put up on social media. So, you know, I was like, okay, I'd like to do this. So I made a tape, and you guys got back to me. So it was great.
So since Shredders has aired, there's been a lot of amazing feedback. There's also been a lot of questions about it. So I want to pull back the veil just a little bit for our viewers today and kind of talk some behind the scenes stuff. First thing right off the bat, the nature of the show was very much plug and play. There was no real changeover time between contestants. The cameras pretty much rolled all day and we just went into it. What were the struggles associated with that kind of hustle and pace in terms of not having time to dial in tones, and what was your approach to nailing it? Because your tone was pretty much bang on right from the start.
As a guitar player, you probably can relate that, like, if you plug straight into an amp and you're not able to dial in your sound, you know, you're not really used to the way the amp sounds and the way that it reacts to your playing, right? So it was kind of tough going through the first few because, you know, obviously you're not used to the sound, but as the episodes progress, I think at the fourth one we were able to dial in our sound. So, you know, from the episodes you can definitely tell that the sound of the guitar got better as it went. But you know, like, I don't know, I've played in situations before where we weren't allowed to dial our amp and stuff. So sometimes you just gotta say like, fuck it, and just go.
That first challenge that you did with playing unaccompanied, it's a difficult thing to do. What was your approach to kind of playing without anyone behind you and really just showing your own stuff?
Well, I was just working out some ideas and some different modes and whatnot on the guitar. So I didn't have something like set in stone and written that I was going to play, but I had some ideas in my head that I wanted to go with. Like, there was, I think if I remember correctly, I kind of started off playing in like Lydian, and then I kind of changed to like harmonic minor and stuff. So I was just trying to kind of just play through some different, you know, scales and modes and ideas, and yeah, and I guess it was, people liked it. So.
What about Skolnick, man? Like, we did not tell you guys that Alex would be on the show.
Yeah.
And what was your reaction at 7 a.m. there when we're all just wiping the sleep out of our eyes and Alex Skolnick walks into the room?
It was definitely a shocker. Like, I've been a huge Skolnick fan probably since I was like 14, 15, and definitely seeing him there was like, whoa, okay, you know, shit got real. So it was definitely a little bit intimidating at first, like going in front of, like, playing in front of one of your heroes, right? But, you know, I tried to just tell myself, you know, stay calm, stay focused, and then by the second or third challenge, I was feeling a lot more relaxed. So yeah.
I mean, you didn't have a ton of time to relax because we literally shot the show in 48 hours.
It was pretty go. So
let's talk about two of the challenges that were more of a pre-prepared challenge. It was the Metalize This with the children's song and the big score with the film clip.
I think we had all the challenges maybe a week in advance, and as soon as I got all the challenges, I started working. I put a lot of time into practicing through all the challenges. One of the tougher challenges was definitely the score, right? Yeah. Because kind of like there's no audio, and it was tough. So I was like, I remember I had a bunch of ideas that I was gonna do for that particular challenge, but then after like that third challenge, you know, the judges had lit a bit of fire under our asses. So I went home and I actually changed everything. I changed everything that I had done that night. I went home after all that filming and I stayed up till probably, I don't even remember how late it was, but I was like, okay, I gotta come up with something different. I gotta come up with something cool, so.
Let's wrap up on Shredders with the climax of the series, the Crossroads-esque guitar duel at the end.
Yeah.
You and Alex going head to head. It was pretty breathtaking. All the judges finished that competition with blank notepads. We've been taking notes for every challenge, and we all wrote down literally nothing after that one because we were just like, you know, our jaws were on the floor watching you. It was incredible. What was the mindset going into like a head-on guitar competition like that? Had you ever done anything like that before?
Well, I've done like some stuff like that with buddies before where, you know, we would have a riff and we would go back and forth. And at that point, I was just kind of like, I was really happy to just make it to the final round. I was just like, let's have some fun. I remember me and Alex had gone outside and we were just like, all right, like, what are we gonna do kind of thing? And we were just kind of like, hey man, let's just have some fun. You know, we're both happy to be here in the final round. And so like, you know, we had like a little rehearsal with the backing track to get a feel of the backing track. And I remember right before filming, I was eating like some gummy worms and I got a little bit of a sugar rush going and I was like, let's go, man. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's you guys start trading off licks. Like it's brilliant how organically it just all came together. I mean, you were given this backing track with basically carte blanche to do whatever you want, and you guys were working off each other perfectly. We couldn't have written a better finale for that. You guys were absolutely perfect for it. It's fun to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's fun to play guitar, man. I love music, love playing, so anytime I'm have the opportunity to jam out, I'm into it. So
I mean, we've covered all our topics for the interview. Now I get to indulge in some nerdiness. You're like on your way to band practice or something. I see you brought your guitar.
I did bring my guitar.
Is that the guitar you played on Shredders of Metal?
It definitely is.
I think we should probably bust that out and talk about your guitar then. Because what would a guitar hang be without a complete nerd out session, right?
Well, here she is.
There she is.
So, this is my Jackson DK2 Okume.
All right, buddy. I see a couple interesting mods right off the bat, but why don't you run me through what we got here?
Well, this is, like I said, a Jackson DK2. It's bolt-on construction like the Dinky guitars. This particular guitar the body is Okume, which is kind of like a relative of mahogany, but it's not quite as dark as mahogany. It's a little bit, probably somewhere in between like alder and mahogany. It's a brighter mahogany. It kind of has a similar grain pattern, but it's a little bit wavier in the grain pattern. This guitar has, like I mentioned earlier, it's got a Seymour Duncan JB, Seymour Duncan 59. I actually ripped out the tone pot on this guitar. I do that on a lot of guitars because I don't really use it. I just have a volume pot here. If you're curious, it's a 500K volume pot, which is, goes well with the humbuckers.
Certainly not standard.
Yeah. It's a 3-way toggle switch, which is actually different from the stock model.
It's a 5 on the stock?
Yeah, it's a 5 on the stock. On the stock model, you couldn't get both humbuckers. So that's one sound that I actually really use a lot for clean tones and whatnot. So I rewired it to three positions. It's full bridge, both humbuckers in full, and then full neck humbucker. It's a maple neck, ebony fretboard. The frets are relatively large. I'm not sure exactly what fret wire there. They could be like 6105s or 6100s. There's also the locking nut. I have some foam here just to dampen some of the ring. So it's a pretty clean sounding guitar. It's very clear. I do have a Floyd Rose on this, but it's actually blocked off because I'm more of a hardtail guy, but I was a huge fan of this guitar. The fretboard radius on this guitar is 12 to 16 inches. It's a compound radius. This has got the truss rod adjustment actually down here, which is super convenient to get to and really easy to adjust. The neck profile on this guitar is extremely comfortable for me.
The fastest necks in the world, these Jackson necks.
Yeah,
man.
This neck is amazing, man. I love this guitar. And actually on the newer Dinkies, they have this heel, which is
look at that, man.
which is
That's
like
awesome.
super easy to get up, and they're super comfortable. So if you're playing on some of the higher frets, it's definitely really comfortable. I've been really happy with this. It's different from a lot of the guitars that I've played in the past, but it's there's a lot of best of all worlds happening on this guitar for me. So, and I've always been a fan of like the tone of bolt-on guitars, but I like having the access of like neck through guitars. So with this heel, I can get
best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure, man. So definitely love this guitar.
You're not using the Floyd, but you do have the locking nut.
I do, yeah.
On.
Yeah. Well, I find like this guitar doesn't have like the string retainer behind the nut.
Right.
So I feel like having the nut locked definitely keeps you in tune. Like it's a very stable guitar, and it stays in tune really well. So like once I put new strings on, I basically I'll lock up the nut and then I'll just tune from the fine tuners, and it's actually like I almost never have to unlock the nut and reset it. Like so it's very stable, and it stays in tune really good.
Couple rapid fire nerdy questions.
Yeah.
US shop, obviously.
No, this is actually from their Pro Series.
Wow.
Yeah,
dude,
so,
it's gorgeous. The binding
thanks,
and everything,
man.
I had no idea. That's
yeah,
awesome.
no, they're doing really good stuff. These particular guitars are actually, this one's made in Mexico, so a lot of their Pro Series ones are actually made in Mexico.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It looks like an American shop. It's amazing.
They're doing a really great job.
What about string gauge?
Well, I play in D standard
Yeah.
on this guitar, and I use 11 to 52
Nice and chunky.
D'Addario strings. So yeah.
And pick gauge and type.
Pick gauge.
Right
I
on. What do you got?
have some picks here. Actually, well, I've actually changed picks since I've been on the show, but I use these Tortex Jazz 3s.
Yeah,
This is this is 1.35 mil. The one that I was using on the show was actually 1.14, but the last like 6 months or so I've been going back and forth between those two. So these are the ones I'm using currently, which is just a little bit thicker than what I was using on the show. But yeah, like I've been using the Tortex now for a long time, and I find that they're really durable and they sound really good.
It's thick as hell too, man.
Yeah.
Thick picks, thick strings.
Yeah.
Well, Frankie, thanks for busting out your baby.
Hey, no problem.
It's a gorgeous guitar, and you've got some magical hands. So it's a pleasure to see you again. Let's crush some beers and hang out sometime, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks,
Pleasure,
man.
dude. Cheers.